primary teaching with Dom. So here's another video. So basically in this video, we're going to talk about progression. So progression in teaching and so on. I don't know for anyone else because obviously I'm not you, but if you want to progress in your teaching, so you want to be more than, so as you know, you come in as the teacher, so you're NQT, and then you move on to that NQT plus 1, and then, you know, eventually you move out of that, or NQT plus 2, I think there's even now at this point. And then you move out of that, and then you, you know, you take on more responsibilities, you become lead or something like that. If you're that person that wants to do that, then this video is for you. If you don't necessarily want to, then that's fine. A lot of people don't. People just like being doing their normal role as a teacher and don't want to progress. So that's up to you. So this video won't be for you, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. So here is the progression kind of routes that you can take and how you somewhat can progress, I guess. So let's get on. So let's say you're a person that really wants to progress in teaching and you really want to do so. That's your aim, to become a head teacher or assistant head, and you're thinking, oh, how do I get there? You know, it's not as simple as just, you know, oh, I want to be a head teacher and just move up there. There's going to be many kind of years of doing different things to get there. So when you come in as your NQT year. So that's you being an NQT, newly qualified teacher, kind of fresh bait, you know what I mean? Like you're just new to it. Then you get your NQT plus 1, so that's an 8, but I think they're doing NQT plus 2 now. So you're kind of like 2 years kind of thing after you become an NQT. So they're doing that. Now, during those times, I would say if you want to be a lead of something, even in your NQT year, you won't necessarily become a lead straight away, but some people do. But I would say if you want to become a lead in a subject, it's really good if you ask your head teacher or so, and if you can, you know, be around or oversee some of the tasks that lead does. So example, if you want to be maths lead of the school or maths lead of, you know, Key Stage 1 or something like that, it'll be good if you go around and like, you know, see what they do. Ask them, you know, when they're having their time away doing maths, whatever they're doing for maths, it's good if you oversee, if you're there, say, oh, can I help you? Or, you know, be there to see what you do kind of thing. Because then that gives you your CPD and you can write that down in your NQT folder. You can write that down and say, I was able to observe this during this time to see what they do. And you're more likely, so if that job does become available, you're more likely to get it because at least that you've been there, you've overseen what's happened and you know, so on. So let's say now that job's come available, you know, to be lead of a subject, or you've been given it, perfect. So now you're a teacher in lead, you're a teacher and a maths lead. Let's go with maths. So you're a maths lead or RE lead or music lead, so on. Now, with some schools and some jobs that when you become a lead of a subject, they put you on a TLR, which is teacher with learning responsibility. So you get like extra pay. I think it starts from £500 and can go up to like £1,000 or £2,000 according to it. So obviously, you know, if you get paid that mullah, that means you're gonna have to, you know, you have to put a bit more into it. But some schools do, some schools don't. Some schools, they want to see what you do for the year first before they do that. And some schools just put you on straight away. So either or, you got the extra responsibility and now you've moved up. So you're like, you know, you got your NQT and you get NQT plus 1 or N plus 2, whatever it is. And then now you've progressed up to a lead of a subject, which is great. So then, once you do lead of a subject and you're doing that for a year and whatnot, then you say to yourself that, you know, I want to progress further, I want to become middle leadership now. So middle leadership is higher now, so you get more responsibility. So you might be your year 2 lead, so your lead of year 2, or it might be lead. So you might be a lead of a subject, so let's say maths, but you're also the lead of your year. So that's where, you know, that you go to meetings and you discuss what happened in the year. You have meetings with your team and you come together and discuss things, and then you bring it back to senior leadership, you know what I mean, all those things like that. So you have the responsibility of making sure your year group is doing well, and anything that needs to be talked about, they will go through you. The lines of communication will go through you, and it will go to your phase lead or whoever. So that's another added responsibility. And yes, you can get paid for that as well because it's middle leadership. So that might be an LTR lead, you know, teaching responsibilities. Okay, so from there you started to NQT, went to NQT plus 1 or 2, then you became leader of a subject. Now you're middle leadership, so now your title would technically probably be year two teacher, maths lead, and year group lead. Okay, so you're in charge of your year group as well as the subject. Okay, so okay, sorry, battery's gonna die. So now that you've done that, you're thinking, you know what, I want to progress more, but you might have been doing this for like 3-4 years at this point. You're like, I want to progress further. So the next thing that you can do, I know that there's different ways that you can do it, but the one that I know is that now you can become wider kind of senior leadership, so you're moving up slightly. So from there, that might mean that you're phase leader. So that means, because that's what I really want to be. I really want to be phase leader. That is like my ultimate goal to become phase leader. So phase leader, where you're in charge of like a key stage. You can be in charge of key stage 1, so you're phase leader for that, or you could be lower key stage 2 or upper key stage 2 phase leader. So that means that is where you can even be a teacher doing it. So you could be like a year 2 teacher, but you're kind of part-time doing it, you know what I mean? So you're doing it two or 3 times a week, but then you also got phase leader responsibilities. So your title becomes longer. So you're like a year 2 teacher, and phase lead, and I don't know, maths lead. So you're still maths lead, but you're phase leader and you're also a teacher. Yeah, that all gels into one. Obviously, more responsibility, more money you get, depending on your school, whatever the boundaries are. But yes, so that's your progression route. And now from there, you're thinking, you know what? I want even more. Like I'm too ambitious. I need more than that. So you're thinking, you know what? I actually want to be head teacher, or you want to be assistant head, because I think assistant head and head teacher are a bit different in terms of what you might need to do to get there. In terms of qualifications you need, but I might be wrong. But I do feel that you don't need the is it NQ something? I think if you want to be a head teacher, you need to do a course on it. And you need to pass the module or something like that. But let's say you want to be assistant head teacher now. So you're assistant head teacher now, that means that obviously you're in the senior leadership role now. So you're senior leadership, but you're not quite head teacher yet, but you're assistant head teacher. Okay. So you want to do that now, and you're like, yeah, I love to do it. I feel that's still a couple years, at least good 5, 6 years. I don't know. It depends on the progression that you go in. But I've known assistant head teacher to be teaching for about 6 years or so. So that means now you're more or less out of the classroom a lot. You can either be out of the classroom completely, or you could be in the classroom for like 2 days. But you're definitely not in the classroom the full time because you're assistant head. So you are assistant head teacher, you're assistant head, so that means you're really in charge of a whole kind of key stage. So you could be assistant head to reception and EYFS and key stage 1, or you could be assistant head for key stage 2, or depending on the school, you could be assistant head in general for the whole entire school, because it might be a small school and whatnot. So majority of the time, if you're assistant head for the whole school, you're not always teaching. You might teach 1 or twice a week, but then that's basically it. And then you have the job of the biggest half of school, to making sure the whole key stage is doing well, or the whole school's doing well. What have you implemented that might be different? And you've got a lot of meetings and everything to do. So obviously you're in the senior leadership role, so that means you get leadership pay. Okay, so you're off the main scale pay onto leadership pay, and that's extra responsibilities and a whole new contract. And for those of you who are thinking, now I want to go even higher than that, because you can go higher up, you want to be head teacher or head of school. So you want to be head teacher or head of school. That means, I think you have to do a qualification for that. Not like you have to go to university, I think you have to do CPD for it. So that is where you're genuinely just not in the classroom at all at this point, because you can't be, unless you're covering for someone, but you're not actually in the classroom. Bigger responsibilities. You're leading the whole school this time. So you're not just in charge of a key stage, you're in charge of the whole school, and the adults and the teachers as everyone kind of, you're in charge of everyone. I don't like using the word below because that sounds really bad, but technically, the one, because your leadership, it goes up. So you're in charge of everyone that way, and you're looking at the whole school rather than just a key stage or like or just a subject. So And then I think after that, I think the higher you go, you can be executive head teacher or CEO and all the different things. But that's the head teacher in the school anyway. So those are the phases that you can go through. Of course, there's different ways of becoming wider lead curriculums. So I mean, like phase leaders, you can become you can not be a phase leader, but be in charge of like all of maths and English, or you could be in charge of all the topic and science and all that base. Like you can be that person. That still will make you. That will still push you past middle leadership into kind of wider senior leadership roles. So there's loads of different ways. It depends on the school, but those are the ways that I kind of seen and know. So yeah, do you want to progress? It's up to you. I don't know, but to see what it's like in your school and see what the progressions are, do ask those questions as well. Do let your school know what you aspire to be and follow that path to do so. If you want to be phase leader, which I want to, you just kind of see what they do. You kind of ask questions and so on. Want to be head teacher, look into what you have to do to become head teacher. Ask the head teacher. You're not taking the person's job. You're just asking, you know what I mean? It's never bad to ask. Ambition is the greatest thing that you can have because we're trying to instill that in our children. So why not instill it in ourselves? So yeah, I hope that you like, comment and subscribe, and thank you for watching the video.